Good morning. This is May 15th, 2024. The meeting of the Board of Estimates is now called to order. As we continue to meet in this hybrid function, we'll ask all folks who are here with us today to ensure that your electronic devices are turned off or at a minimum placed on silence so you do not disrupt today's proceedings. For those who will be participating in today's proceedings online, we'll ask that you please announce yourself once you're called on, and then please speak loudly and clearly to ensure that the proceedings are moving on. Before we get into today's agenda, I would like to first of all say to all folks, obviously we had an election last night. I would like to congratulate the mayor, give it up to the mayor for a very successful campaign, as well as the comptroller. Please give it up for the comptroller. I had the chance of contacting my opponent and conceding and thanking him for a very successful campaign. I am a son of the city of Baltimore. I am very appreciative for what the city has poured into me, but more importantly, for the opportunity to serve the city of Baltimore, and truly, truly thankful for that. So we had a very successful campaign, all of us, and it's time to move the city forward. So I look forward to working with Zeke Cohen as he transitions into being the city council president, and look forward to continuing to work with both of you as we continue to move the city forward. With that, at this time, I'll ask our amazing clerk, Ms. Celeste Amato, for any corrections, additions, and noted abstentions to today's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone. We have the following changes, corrections, and walk-ons to note for this morning's agenda. There is a correction to SB 2410768, Department of Public Works. We are striking the action start date and inserting June 13th, 2023, and striking the transaction's end date and inserting June 14th, 2024. We also have a correction, item SB 2411528. This is a travel reimbursement for our city procurement officer, Adam Manny. With apologies, we had a little technical glitch, and this item was listed in the table of contents but did not appear on the agenda. So we are going to very quickly read it into the agenda this morning. This is a request to approve an employee travel reimbursement for Adam Manny, who attended the NIGP Leadership Summit 2024 in Houston, Texas. The transaction amount is $232.76. We also have the following walk-ons to note this morning. SB 2411558. This is for the Department of Transportation. It's a developer's agreement number 1885 with 1100 Greenmount with 1100 Greenmount LP. The board is requested to approve a developer's agreement number 1885 with 1100 Greenmount LP. The period of the agreement is based upon board approval. The transaction amount is $29,278.10. The developer, 1100 Greenmount LP, desires to perform upgrades to the property known as 1100 Greenmount Avenue. This project consists of, but is not limited to, new utilities, curb and sidewalk upgrades. The developer is also working with the Enoch Pratt Free Library to have a new branch on the first floor, as well as other commercial businesses. Affordable residential units will be on the upper floors. This agreement will allow the developer to do its own installation in accordance with Baltimore's city standards. A performance bond in the amount of $265,756.35 has been issued to 1100 Greenmount LLP, which assumes 100% of the financial responsibility. We also have walk-on SB 2411903. This item is for the Bureau of Procurement. It is an increase to SCON 001802, fixed and mobile LPR maintenance contract, extension and increase with Celex ES Incorporated. The board is requested to approve an equipment maintenance service contract increase with Celex ES Inc. The period of the agreement is from June 5, 2024 to April 12, 2025. The transaction amount is $374,840. On April 14, 2021, the board approved an initial award with subsequent actions as shown in the contract value summary in the agenda. The requested increase is due to the increased usage of the contract with one-year renewal option remaining. And we have one more walk-on, SB 2411904. This item is also for the Bureau of Procurement. It's an increase to SCON 03976 EFOY Subscription and Mobile Units Agreement. The board has requested to increase the consulting professional services agreement with LiveView Technologies, Inc. The period of this agreement is from January 10th, 2024 to January 9th, 2025. The transaction amount is $137,208.00. And on January 10th, 2024, the board approved an initial award with subsequent actions that are summarized in the agenda. This increase will allow the Office of Emergency Management to rent camera trailers for public surveillance at incidents and events throughout the city with one-year renewal option remaining. We have received a protest for this agenda also, SB 2411477 for the Department of Transportation, TR 24009 ADA curb ramp and sidewalk construction, Urgent Need West. A protest was received from J Villa Construction Incorporated. We have the following deferrals and withdrawals to note this morning. SB 2411262, procurement. This was an unauthorized procurement, First Vehicle Services. This item is being withdrawn. SB 2411477, Department of Transportation, TR 24009, ADA curb ramp and sidewalk construction, Urgent Need West. This item is being withdrawn. SB 2410865, Department of Transportation Claims Resolution Agreement, Inner Harbor Water Taxi Terminal. This item is being deferred at the request of the Law Department. SB 2411647, Department of Housing and Community Development, Fixed Pricing Policy Dispositions, May 2024. This item is being deferred at the request of the President. Walk-on SB 2411903, procurement increase to a contract with Celex ES Inc. This item is being deferred at the request of the Comptroller. And walk-on SB 2411904 for procurement increase to contract for EFOY subscription and mobile units agreement. This item is being deferred at the request of the Comptroller. The following items are on the non-routine agenda this morning. SB 2411356, Department of General Services, Emergency Procurement, Contract 001547, Team Service. SB 2411658 for procurement and unauthorized procurement with Civic Plus LLC. SB 2410768, Department of Public Works, Amendment 1 to WC 1204, PAS Druid Lake Finished Water Tanks. The walk-on item SB 2411558, Department of Transportation Developers Agreement number 1885 with 1100 Greenmount LP. SB 2411315, Department of Housing and Community Development, Intergovernmental Memorandum of Agreement with Tivoli Eco Village. SB 2411499, Procurement, Award, Cooperative Contract, GSA 47QRAA 24004L. And that's it. Because the two remaining walk-on items have been deferred to a future meeting.
Can you hold on, the closed caption isn't working.
Oh. I don't have to read that all again, do I? Did I break closed captioning?
You did not break closed captioning. Yeah, where's Erica? If Erica reading, possibly she could.
We're pausing for the moment to try to bring up closed captioning. So if you guys could bear with us for 1 second. This is a test. We're trying to see if closed captioning is still working. It's not on Charm TV. 10, 9, 8, 7. Test 1, 2, 1, 2. Again, if you guys could just bear with us, we're trying to ensure that closed captioning is turned on.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. So that's not going through there. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Mic check 1, 2. Mic check 1, 2 from Charm TV.
There we go, there's
I hear you.
the caption.
I hear Charm TV. Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, it's on WebEx then.
And you can hear it? Okay?
There you go. There we go. Yay.
Closed captions work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're operating correctly over here.
But now you tested to see if it worked.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. No, it doesn't hear me.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Testing.
Like accents.
We hear you in the broadcast. You are actually broadcasting out to the world.
Okay, and you hear us on WebEx?
The WebEx.
It's WebEx.
Yeah, I don't want to stop and start the meeting. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mike? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
It's not coming through WebEx.
It's not coming through the WebEx? I mean, I can stop and start the meeting, but it kicks everyone out. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. See, it don't play on both of them. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. So on playback, it doesn't play back. The microphone is set to USB system sends either speakerphone BOE or speakerphone BOE USB bridge. No, both are not working.
It's all,
It's just, oh, okay.
it's a, the monitor.
Oh, it's just still print, but it's coming from.
Shall I click? Let me click mute and unmute. That won't work, will it?
But still, where is it coming from? Where's it from the CPU?
This controls the microphones, but there's a software that they got for the to broadcast.
Yeah, so the only way, if I restart the meeting, do they just going to come back to this link? The link doesn't change. I mean, I can reboot the computer and restart the meeting.
Change with the hardware. It seems like a hardware issue.
Yeah.
Well,
That's not a software issue.
But
No.
we could, so let's test it. So if Aaron is
Hold on.
creating a new link before we even
No,
shut it down.
he's
Oh,
suggesting using the same link.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. Let's test it and see, does it work when we, is it a WebEx issue or could we?
Well, the only way to do it is to shut this meeting down, restart everything.
Okay, we can't pull up two different WebEx at the same time. Okay.
No. I mean, then I can log back on here and we can retest
So.
the sounds.
So let's just tell everybody we're gonna close off and then for them to log back using the
Yeah.
same link.
So then who would tell?
So for all the folks who, but I'm not sure if you guys can hear me out there in WebEx land, but what we're going to attempt to do is we're going to try to restart the same link on WebEx and see if that corrects the issue. So we'll ask you guys to rejoin after we shut down. We're going to shut it back on immediately. So for everybody out there in WebEx land, we're going to start back up as soon as we close it out. So for all the folks that are out there watching and paying attention, it's important that we don't go in recess because the issue is about our communication out to you. So from a Charm TV perspective, we've already confirmed that they're able to communicate and closed captioning is working appropriately there. But what we're trying to do is ensure that when we're speaking, closed captioning is working. So that's why it's important that we do not recess and we keep it in motion to complete this problem from a technical perspective.
Okay.
It should be in one of the calendars.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Okay.
I'm gonna try to sing.
Yeah, I'm going to restart the actual computer as well. So I'm going to reboot the computer as well. Well, the connections within the well, they can hear it out. It's just that it's when you talk within the WebEx meeting, they can't hear you. Yeah, and it should work. So okay, let me.
So why don't we just,
I'm going to restart.
but if not, I'm getting on the WebEx.
Nate.
But if nothing else, if all, the WebEx is generally for staff, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could go to Charm TV Live and hear it.
If it doesn't work,
No,
we can't.
Charm TV Live is not picking up our closed caption.
Oh, they're not either?
So if we speak out, Charm TV Live is not showing our closed caption. That's what the issue is.
Oh, I thought it was just the WebEx. Okay.
It looks like the WebEx closed captioning is now working, but the Charm TV closed captioning is not working. We can have one meeting without closed captioning.
Whatever the solicitor says.
I mean, it's not going to be an open meetings act issue. It's from an ADA perspective, we have tried to put, for a long time, we didn't have any of these. And we hard and got it up. I think if we do this one and we say, look, this one is not going to have closed captioning, it will eventually be posted on YouTube when closed captioning should be added. Well, if they can't hear us, that's the problem. If they can hear us, I think we can just have it on Charm TV.
Issue is they couldn't hear.
Yeah,
When he was talking,
yeah, that I'm not sure.
So, testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Is the link back up? The link's
Yeah,
back up?
yeah. So the WebEx, I've just retested the speakerphones and restarted the meeting,
And that's the same link.
and it's not playing back my.
Can they hear?
Setting.
Can Charm TV hear us?
You still there, Chris? Yeah. So when I do the test on the microphone, it doesn't play it back over the speakers.
Yeah. The Charm TV sound is
They
working.
can hear us. They
Yeah.
can hear us. All right. So we're good.
Just say
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. No, it's not moving at all.
it's a little bit of a lag, but I think
Yeah,
this is working.
There's only 2 on here. I have testing, testing. No, so the mic's not working.
So we're good to go, right?
I think so.
So
I would just scrap the WebEx and just do it with Charm TV, assuming that they can. It sounds like it's playing, and assuming that that's the case, I would just do that.
okay, but-
And we'll say, and I'd make a note that we are having issues with our closed captioning.
should we just shut it down and restart it then?
Make sure that once this. A little bit of a lag, so this is like a minute from like a minute ago.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. No, it's not picking it up. So either it's their wireless access point's a problem. So it's so the microphones in here are not picking up on the WebEx. No. No, everything there's on.
We're just gonna say that the.
Allow apps to access your microphone.
Won't be closed captions.
Yeah, no, the Charm TV's picking it up right now.
They're picking it up.
Yeah, Charm TV is good.
They're good. So we're just going to leave it as it is for the WebEx.
Yeah, so with the WebEx, can you,
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
can you put in the chat for folks to go to Charm TV if they
Yeah.
want to participate in the meeting or well,
To
watch
listen.
the
Yeah.
meeting?
Right.
And you can, and you can confirm, we've always had.
All right, and we're back.
Thank you. Sorry for that small delay. We're going to ask folks of our hearing impaired community if you could please go to Charm TV, whether that's through your television provider or on the internet. We've placed the link in this stream. We're having issue with the closed caption. That's the problem that we're trying to correct. Unfortunately, we were not able to correct it from a WebEx perspective. But at this time, we're going to continue on. So, Madam Clerk, if you could please continue on with the opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have the following abstentions to note this morning on behalf of our board members. The Honorable Mayor Brandon Scott is abstaining on SB 24-10300, Health Department Provider Agreement with Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, and on SB 24-11624, Department of Transportation Developers Agreement number 1898 with the Johns Hopkins Hospital. The Honorable President Nick Mosby is abstaining on SB 24-11689 travel request and on SB 24-11691 travel request. The Honorable Comptroller Bill Henry is abstaining on all travel requests and travel reimbursements. Deputy City Solicitor Stephen Salisbury has no abstentions to note this morning, and the Director of Public Works Khalil Zaid has no abstentions to note this morning. We do have the following no votes for items on the routine agenda to note on behalf of the Honorable President Nick Mosby. The President is voting no on the following items. SB 24-11631, Award GS2 3886. Engine 42, Roof Replacement, Rough Roofing and Sheet Metal, LLC. On SB 24-11356, Emergency Procurement, SCON 001547, Team Service Corporation. On SB 24-11115, Grant Agreement, ARPA, Nathaniel J. McFadden Learn and Play Park. SB 24-11539, Amendment to Grant Agreement, ARPA, Maryland Department of Labor, Division of Workforce Development and Adult Learning. SB 24-11568, Amendment 1, Grant Agreement, ARPA, Goodwill Industries of the Chesapeake State, Train Up. SB 24-11559, Grant Agreement, ARPA, Delaware, Maryland Synod of the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. This is a MONSE transaction with for Good Trouble Church. SB 24-11371, Grant Agreement, ARPA, MONSE Challenge to Challenge Fusion Partnerships, Inc. SB 24-11516, Grant Agreement, ARPA, MONSE Michelle's Haven. SB 24-11697, increase to SCON 001971, repairs and maintenance services, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning units. SB 24-11316, Amendment 1, Grant Agreement with Baltimore Core, Inc., providing Baltimore's underemployed with sustainable employment. SB 24-11355, Amendment 1, Grant Agreement, Pro Bono Resource Center of Maryland, Inc., protecting homeownership in Baltimore City's low-income neighborhoods to ensure housing equity. And SB 24-11710, Houston Galveston Area Council Contract Number TS06-21, Professional Staffing. That concludes the opening statement for this morning, Mr. President.
Thank you so much. At this time, I'll ask for a motion to approve or adopt the opening statement.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The opening statement has now been adopted. I would now like to direct the board's attention to a memorandum from my office dated May 13th, 2024, identifying matters to be considered as routine agenda items, together with any corrections, additions, and abstentions, and no votes that have been noted by our amazing clerk. I will at this time entertain a motion to approve all items contained on the routine agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. The routine agenda has now been adopted. The first item on non-routine can be found on pages 23 through 24, SB 23-11356, Department of General Services. This request is to approve an emergency procurement amendment to the interagency agreement between the Mayor's Office of Recovery Programs and the Department of General Services with Team Service Corporation. On behalf of DGS, we have
Good morning. My name is Berke Atilla, Director of the Department of General Services. So this item has 3 components to it. It gets a bit confusing. So the first one is an emergency request to pay the previous invoices that we had to render when we had the service gap. The second emergency request under the same company is to be able to deal with the generator request for the fire department locations that are tied to ARPA funds. And at the same time, on the routine side, we have the actual contract, who is the sole bidder that will get the contract to do the actual work. So the reason why we are going with the emergency request is not to amend the current contract. We don't have to do that language, but it's the same company that is going to be awarded with the sole bidder on this agenda at the same time.
Thank you, Mr. Director. At this time, are there any questions or concerns? Hearing and seeing none, at this time, the board will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Sure.
It's
Oh, yes, noted. Yeah, that's fine.
Emergency procurements are already
You have something to
approved.
say? Oh. Thank you so much. It is an emergency walk-on item, so we are just going to note it for today. We don't have to approve.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The next item on our routine agenda can be found on page 49, SB 2410768, Department of Housing and Community Development. This request is to approve a memorandum agreement among the Maryland State Historical Preservation Officer and the Coldstream Montebello Community Corporation, AHC Incorporated, and Urban Green LLC. On behalf of the department, we have
Good morning. We have Alice Kennedy, Housing Commissioner for the Department of Housing and Community Development. Good morning, Honorable President and members of the board. We're here this morning to talk about the Memorandum of Understanding that is between the City of Baltimore, the developer, as well as the Maryland Historical Trust and the Coldstream Homestead Montebello Corporation. I have with me today also Mark Washington representing the corporation. So this Memorandum of Understanding is required, is a part of the requirement tied to congressional and state funding that the project has received. Coldstream Homestead Montebello Corporation applied for and received a federal earmark. And under that, you have to complete a environmental assessment. A part of that environmental assessment as required by HUD for disbursement of the funds includes a historical review by MHT. And it was noted that the properties that are still left to demolish, which we have 4 of the remaining properties, that would be an adverse effect because of the historic community being on the National Historic Register of Places. And so to do that, they require basically a memorandum of agreement to say what other measures will be taken in the community to address specifically the historic nature. So the agreement includes that the Maryland Inventory of Historic Properties, along with archival photographs, will be filed with the Maryland Historical Trust. We will also have a brochure information of resources available to residents that live in the Coldstream Homestead Montebello area in terms of letting them know information about the historic nature of the community, as well as any other resources to help with home repair, and also compatibility of the new housing construction to the existing neighborhoods, and review by the Maryland Historical Trust of the final design of the project, as well as an interpretation plan designed and implemented by the Coldstream Homestead Montebello Corporation. So like we said, this is a key component to getting the federal money, and we're on a tight deadline with that. So we'd like to get this moving, and this is an important part of the process in order to move the entire Tivoli project forward. The community has been waiting for a long time, and we're really excited to be able to get to this point and come up with this agreement. I was going to let Mark say a couple words.
Mr. Washington, would you like to speak on behalf of the community?
Sure. Before I echo the sentiments of the commissioner, I just want to congratulate Controller Henry, Mayor Scott, and sir, I want to thank you for your years of dedicated service and commitment to the citizens of Baltimore. You stood with us in the face of adversity. I am eternally grateful for that, and I'm eternally grateful for your service. With that being said, as I said previously, I echo the sentiments of the commissioner. It's been 16 years that we've been trying to get this project done. We've lost some quality people along the way that were a part of this project, from Doris Johnson to former councilperson Rita Church to Bill Henry Sr. And all these people had the dream and vision of reinventing the community and transforming it, making certain that equity was the cornerstone of what we were doing. And that equity and inclusiveness is key and near and dear to my heart, and is in keeping with that roadmap that was laid out by our foremothers and forefathers. So I urge you all to side with us so that we can expedite this long-standing project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, are there any questions or concerns from members of the board? Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to echo what you heard from Mr. Washington and from Commissioner Kennedy. This one, as you know, is one that's very personal for me. One of the first things I did when I came to City Hall as a very, very young man was fill in for the then council president at a press conference in demolition at Tivoli, for us to now finally be at this point where we're going to see this project, long awaited project, moving forward in all the things that we know, and that I know you know very well, about what Tivoli used to stand for and now what is going to stand for in Chum and the neighborhood. There's seeing great transformation. It excites me, and I'm going to say congratulations in advance, Mark.
Thank you, sir.
And nice suit.
Are there any additional questions or concerns? At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item has been approved. Thank you so much, Mr. President. The next item on the non-routine agenda can be found on page 149. That's SB 2411499, Department of Procurement for the Department of Health. This request is to approve cooperative agreement with First Choice LLC. On behalf of the department, we have
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
we thought we were going to hear from Madam Commissioner, not you.
I'll be happy to step
Mr.
aside. I'll have a seat.
Thank you for coming to help. Good morning. My name is Ihuama Emenuga, Commissioner of Health, and I'm here with Assistant Commissioner for Home and Community-Based Services, Byron Pugh. Can you hear me? No, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Should I say my name again?
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So the contract in question is a contract for temp agency contracting for our home and community-based services. We have a team of nurses, social workers, community health workers who assess patients who are going into home-based services. The challenge we have is we have a large backlog of these patients. We don't have enough staff to continue the backlog. It's almost like we're a gatekeeper of sorts. We need to do the assessment and then have them go into services. So in order to clear this backlog, we're trying to contract with First Choice, which is the contract that you see, to clear the backlog just for the period of time needed to do that, and then we can go on, let them go, and then let them go into services. So that's the purpose of the contract that you see.
Thank you, Madam Commissioner. Are there any questions or concerns for the Health Department? Mr. Comptroller?
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning. I think you got at a lot of what I was trying to understand about this, but if you could bear with me, I want to just flesh out a little bit more what the expectations are for our needs for temporary staffing. So when you say working through the backlog, does that imply that once the temporary staff, along with the permanent staff that are in place, the in-house folks for the health department, that there will be a point where you will have worked through the backlog of patients to assess, and then you won't need the temporary staff anymore because the in-house staff will be sufficient to handle the normal flow of patients?
So we are continuing to recruit or attempt to recruit. As you know, clinical staff recruitment is very challenging. We're right in the middle of Baltimore City, surrounded by hospitals and large organizations. We're vying for the same clinical staff. So the hope is that we will continue to recruit so that when we get to the point where we just continue to run business as usual, we won't need the temporary staff. I can't give you an exact stop date for that, but I can tell you that we won't need as many in order to clear the backlog that we have at the moment.
Okay, that's okay. Then I think we are getting into the area that I wanted to sort of check in on, which is where are we in terms of vacancies for permanent in-house positions for this type of work?
So I can allow Assistant Commissioner Byron to come in? Yeah, go ahead.
So, excuse me, for this, for the nursing staff, we have approximately 4 vacancies that we are currently recruiting for. Recruiting is continuous and ongoing. Our human resources team screens the candidates and then forward them to us. We schedule the interviews. Many don't accept. We're, again, competing with some better options. But through this process, we do anticipate that we will ultimately be able to fill our vacancies.
So how many temporary positions are we bringing in through the staffing services contract to both cover the 4 vacancies that exist and provide additional services to work through the backlog?
10.
10. But in an ideal world, we will eventually hire 4 permanent folks, and in an ideal world, the extra 6 people that you're bringing in on the temp basis, the extra 6 positions, will help you work through the backlog. So one day we'll get to a point where 4 in-house folks are all that is necessary on a regular basis, because if you feel like you need more positions to deal with the regular flow of people, then you need more than 4 positions. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President. One of the points that I continually raise with agencies is if we find ourselves in a position where we just regularly need to keep hiring temps to get the basic work done, then the problem is you're not budgeted for enough normal positions. And that is a conversation that should be happening with the finance department to make sure that you're budgeted properly, because I find it hard to believe that it is more cost effective to be getting temps to do this work on an indefinite basis than it would be to simply be properly staffed. And what we should be doing to help you is we should be working to make certain that you have the staff to do this. And if for some reason it is more cost effective, I would like to understand why we are having trouble hiring people at the salaries that we're hiring, but we are paying less than that for temporary staff?
I can speak to that.
Sure.
So clinical services, staffing for clinical services is slightly different from staffing for other positions because the clinical services themselves bring reimbursement. So these services that we're talking about are reimbursed by Medicaid. So we pay for staff, the staff generates the patient visits, and the patient visits should pay for themselves. And so we're not trying to staff for something that just continues to pay indefinitely. The other thing too is that why it's easier to recruit for temps is, again, because of the competitive nature of where we are, there's always a crop of clinical personnel who are willing to take on temporary employment, but will not take on a full employment with the city.
Oh.
And so often when you have that shortfall or that gap in clinical services, you reach out to that group of people, and that's why we're able to get the temps. But regardless, whether we're paying temporary or recruitment, we're still going to be reimbursed for these services. And if we're not able to attract full-time staff, we can attract temporary staff.
If we're going to be reimbursed,
Yes.
then theoretically, it should not be a problem to be offering competitive salaries for the full-time positions too, right?
Oh, no, it's a problem because it's a different rate, but Barry, you want to speak to that?
For the nurses, it's a union negotiated rate, so we can't deviate from what is in the union contract to pay the nurses, whereas other entities may be able to start them at higher salaries.
The contract doesn't let us pay more?
So, this is getting a little outside of my purview, but I will
That's okay,
say
I do that all the time.
that our hiring salaries are not competitive with hiring salaries of other entities.
Right, but what I was getting from your explanation was, if I thought I had somebody from HR here earlier, but that face seems to have disappeared from the crowd. If we had competitive hiring salaries, would we not get fully reimbursed for that?
No. So Medicaid rates are capped.
Per se.
And so
And-
there's a rate at which Medicaid reimburses for these visits. That enables us to pay for temporary staffing, but doesn't give us enough to be competitive for full-time nursing.
And so people are willing to take lower salaries for temporary work than they would be willing to take for full-time positions.
For many reasons. There are always people who temporary work suits a purpose in their lives at that time. And so we just tap into that group of people. Have young children, need more flexibility, don't want to work through the summer, different things. So we can tap into that because we don't have to offer all the other things necessary to bring them on board.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I mean, yes, it does make sense. Okay, it wasn't what my preconceived notion of the situation was, but it makes sense. Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chief Procurement Officer, are you out there?
Yes, sir.
Anything to add to the discussion?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Madam Commissioner.
Adam really enjoyed me having that conversation with someone else.
No one else did, though. Thank you so much, Madam Commissioner, in your office. At this time, we'll take a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and probably deferred. All folks who are sports say, it's been moved and probably second. All folks say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. The next item on non-routine agenda can be found on page 179, SB 2411658, Department of Procurement, Recs and Parks. This request is to approve an unauthorized procurement to Civic Plus LLC. Now we're going to hear from Mr. CPO.
Good morning again. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, Mr. Comptroller, honorable board members, Adam Manny, your Chief Procurement Officer. This is an unauthorized procurement with Civic Plus. Civic Plus was under contract and with a purchase order with the Department of Recreation and Parks. They provided services. It's a cloud-based software so that they could register patrons for programs, rent out facilities at parks, collect the revenue, and a variety of other things. The contract and the purchase order ended in September of last year, except the business partner continued to provide the services and we continued to use the service. And so what we're asking the board to do is extend the current contract, reactivate the contract, bring it through the end of September of this year, September 12th, and pay the past due amount. I've been working with Recreation and Parks, and we'll be putting out a new solicitation for this. This will allow them to get through the summer, the busy season, and we can then continue and move forward.
Thank you, Mr. CPO. Mr. Director, anything to add?
No, I think CPO Manny covered everything, but we do need the software to continue to operate.
Sir, yes, sir. Are there any questions or concerns? Mr. Comptroller?
Just checking in, we had to do unauthorized procurements with Civic Plus before, so this is not the first time this has happened. The last time we had this kind of issue was May of last year, 2023, and I guess what I'm curious about is what happened such that we did it again, and has anything been put in place structurally to make sure we don't do this again?
Yeah, I think the key to this is us working closely with procurement. When the notifications happen, with procurement moving forward to extending contracts. I think, I know in conversation with CPO Manning, at this particular time when this was going on last year, there was a limitation of staffing in procurement, and they had quite a few procurements, I think upwards of 90 of each of his procurement officers. So some of this just didn't get through the process. But what we're doing, as CPO Manning stated, is that we will be working closer with them. And this next year, we'll bid the project, look for the software company with a longer terms where it doesn't have to be renewed every year.
Oh, okay, well, that definitely makes sense. Is there comfort both in Rec and Parks and in procurement in your ability to put out a new contract and get an award before September of this year?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Comptroller. Are there any additional questions or concerns from members of the board? Hearing and seeing none, at this time, I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. The next item on non-routine agenda can be found on pages 224 through 225. SB 241078, Department of Public Works. This request is to approve the post-award services contract with Whitman, Wickard, and Associates LLP. On behalf of the department, we have.
Yes, good morning, Mr. President, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Comptroller, and esteemed board. My name's Tim Wolf. I'm the Chief of the Office of Engineering Construction, DPW. This contract extension is for providing continuing services for Whitman Wickard, who was the engineer of record, the designer for the Druid Lake project. And they're going to continue providing their services as we get to the final phases of the project. And we're also coordinating with Rec and Park with their upcoming project as well.
Thank you. At this time, are there any questions or concerns from members of the board? Mr. Comptroller, the floor is yours.
Just one. When will people be able to go around the whole lake again?
Actually, we're looking to wrap it up late fall or the end of the year. It's coordinating with Rec and Parks. And the weather's, it's been a little challenging for us to rain, though I like the rain. It fills our reservoirs. But, with backfill and compaction, it takes a little more time. But that's the target right now.
The target is end of calendar 24?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So looking at walking in a winter wonderland kind of a thing for going all the way. Charm City, next year's Charm City Lights, we can then go for a walk around the whole lake. Okay.
I'll join you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any additional questions or concerns? Hearing and seeing none, at this time, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and probably second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. The next item is on the non-routine is a walk-on item. It's SB 2411558, Department of Transportation. This request is to approve a developer's agreement number 1885 with 1100 Greenmount LLP. On behalf of the administration, we have
David Fram, Department of Transportation. Good morning, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, Mr. Comptroller, Honorable Board. My name is David Fram, representing the Department of Transportation. I'm here this morning to seek the Honorable Board's approval of our walk-on document, known as SB 2411558, Developers Agreement 1885, between the Mayor and City Council and 1100 Greenmount LP. The approval of this document is linked to a few funding sources: $1.7 million from the Mayor and City Council, $6.5 million from the State of Maryland, $13.5 million from HUD, and $2 million even roughly from private philanthropic purchases. The secured funding is necessary because a settlement is scheduled for May 30th of this coming, and at the end of the month. Once a settlement occurs, it will facilitate significant development in Johnson Square. This development consists of 109 affordable housing units and a new Enoch Pratt Free Library on the first floor. So accordingly, if it finds the board approval, I'd like to seek approval of this walk-on. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, are there any additional questions or concerns? Mr. Comptroller.
Not a question, and not as much of a concern as a PSA for all of our agency partners. When you submit an item to BOE Submit, or perhaps more importantly, when you think you've submitted an item to BOE Submit, please, please, please check the draft agenda that we circulate shortly after the deadline. That is our opportunity to work with you and make any necessary corrections to ensure that the item gets on the public agenda, which is how we avoid the need for walk-ons at this point. And just another note, thanks to our partners at BSIT, we have data analytics that let us know if you opened the draft agenda email or not. So if we get a complaint down the line that there's a problem and your item isn't on the agenda and we need to walk it on, and we go back and look and see you never opened the email with the draft agenda, we know that, and whoever you are, who you work for, will know that shortly. So please, please, please take advantage of the draft agenda. And that's my PSA. Hi, I'm Comptroller Bill Henry. That's been my PSA for agencies this week. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you. At this time, are there any additional questions or concerns? Hearing and seeing none at this time, I will take a motion.
So moved.
It's been moved and probably seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This item is approved. Thank you so much. The next item on non-routine agenda can be found is another walk-on item. It's SB 2411903, Department of Procurement.
Mr. President,
Got deferred.
the last
Thank you.
the last two walk-ons were deferred.
We're all good.
We are,
All
I
right.
believe we're complete.
So I believe there's no additional business. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Comptroller. I want to first congratulate the Comptroller on his hard-fought victory yesterday. Mr. Comptroller, thank you very much. But in all seriousness, Mr. President, I want to say thank you to you for your years of service. You're not done yet. You got several months with us. We know how much you love the city of Baltimore, having served here and in Annapolis on behalf of the residents of Baltimore. So thank you for your many years of service and what I know will continue to be service to our great city.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. At this point, there's no new business before the desk of this board. We will adjourn the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Estimates. It will occur on Wednesday, June 5th at 9 a.m. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. Baltimore, we absolutely love you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Board of Estimates bid opening for May 15th, 2024. Welcome all. We have a few addenda to share this morning. First, from the Bureau of Procurement for RFQ 232. This is for personal computer hardware and related items. The new opening date for this item will be June 5, 2024. Also for the Bureau of Procurement, RFQ 572, off-the-lot vehicles. This bid opening has also been delayed until June 5, 2024. And finally, for Department of Public Works, SC 1005, Herring Run Sewer Shed Inflow and Infiltration Reduction Area B. This bid opening has been delayed until June 5, 2024. So today we have 10 bids that we are opening, and first up is for Department of Public Works, SC 982. This is for the Eastern Station Rehabilitation Pumping Station.
And we have no bids submitted.
Oh, okay, that's no bids received for SC 982, Eastern Station Rehabilitation Pumping Station. Up next for, actually, let me double check. SC 1024 is the next one.
Yes.
It says Bureau of Procurement, right?
Yep,
Okay.
that's right.
Again, shifting it over.
Okay, so this is actually for DPW again, correct? Okay, I'll fix it. Well, I think I can fix that.
The little pull down.
Yep, got it. Okay, this is a bid for the Department of Public Works, SC 1024, and this is for truck scale replacement at the Back River wastewater treatment plant.
All right. So this is not this one.
Yes, that's.
That's the one.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
All right. So up first, we have Bowen and Cron Enterprise, Inc. And that total is 1,193,441.00.
That number was 1,193,441.00?
That is correct.
Okay. And that doesn't happen to be bonded or anything?
We do have a bid
Oh,
bond.
okay.
Mhm.
And there are no checks associated with these bonds?
No.
Okay. I will not make that note then. That bidder was Bowen and Cron Enterprises, Inc., and the bid amount was $1,193,441.00.
Up next, we have Alan Myers. That total is 845,555.00.
Okay, that number was 845,555.00.
That is correct.
And do we have a bid bond?
Yes, we do.
Thank you. That bidder was Alan Myers for $845,555.00.
We seem to have one more.
Is it there?
Yeah.
Let me see, one.
Can I have the sheet? Yep, thanks. The second one. Thanks. All right, and our final bidder is WM Schlosser Company, Inc. And that total is 1,722,000.00.
Okay, that number was 1,722,000.00.
That is correct.
And do we have a bid bond?
Yes, we do.
Great, thank you. That bidder was WM Schlosser Company, Inc. for $1,722,000.00. And let me say that number again, since I didn't do a great job. WM Schlosser Company, Inc. for $1,722,000.00. And that was our final of three bidders?
Yes.
For SC 1024 truck scale replacement at the Back River wastewater treatment plant. Up next, for the Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 549, manage, operate, and maintain telecommunications systems for the Baltimore Convention Center. And my sheet says this is a Part A, so we're revealing the respondents to the bid only because they've shared their qualifications, but we are not sharing pricing today.
Yep.
But we did receive a check for some or all of the bidders, yes?
Two.
Okay, so I will just note that as we go through.
Okay. All right.
Because some bids require a check be submitted with the bid. Okay, so up first we have,
Up first, we have Shownets LLC. We then have Cox Business. And lastly, Smart City Networks.
and do we have, I'm showing on the sheet that we have a check from Shownets. Do we have checks present from any other bidders?
Shownet, yes, has a check.
But not any others?
One more, one more,
I just want to note for the record so we know we have one.
Smart City, yes.
So Smart City also?
Yes.
Thank you, so we get them to the right place. Okay, so those bidders or respondents to RFQ 549, manage, operate, and maintain telecommunication systems for the Baltimore Convention Center. The respondents are as follows: ShowNets LLC, Cox Business, and Smart City Networks. So those were the three respondents for RFQ 549. Up next, for RFQ 671, this is for the Bureau of Procurement. This is a contract for crime scene supplies.
And we have no bid submitted.
And we have no bids submitted for RFQ 671, crime scene supplies. Up next, for Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 554. I have a notation here that this was originally RFQ 569. So again, I'm going to share both numbers. RFQ 554, perhaps originally proposed or posted as RFQ 569. This is for peer support mobile application. This is also a Part A opening, meaning that we share the respondents to the bid, but not their pricing. And we have the following respondents. Go ahead, Abby.
Up first, we have Nick Fiorito. Or no, actually, let's strike that. It's.
Oh,
Is it
okay, so
first
there's
response?
a company name we should be listing
Yeah.
here.
Yep, okay. So that is First Response.
First Response.
Mental Health, Inc.
Mental Health, Inc. And just to clarify for the audience, we try to create the list of what we're opening, and sometimes we can't read everything that's on the envelope. So we list what we can, but when we open the envelope, we realize that this respondent is First Response Mental Health, Inc. Go ahead, Ab.
Up next, we have OCV LLC. And our last one is Lexipol.
Okay. Did this bid require a check, or do we see any checks enclosed? Okay. So for RFQ 554, originally listed as RFQ 569, this is for peer support mobile application. The respondents are as follows: First Response Mental Health, Inc., OCV LLC, and Lexipol. And that was the final of three respondents for RFQ 554. Up next, we have another bid for Bureau of Procurement, RFQ 563. This is for GFT signage.
We have one bidder. That is KM Printing LLC, doing business as Strategic Factory. I don't see a total.
Tawanda, do you see a total in the copy you're holding?
Right here.
Yeah. Yep, okay, all right. I believe that is, it's not numbered, but it would be the second of the bid price sheet. Okay, yep. All right, that total is 299,490.00.
Okay, that number was 299,490.00.
That is correct.
Okay. And this doesn't have a bond and no check? That bidder was KM Printing LLC, doing business as Strategic Factory, and the bid amount was $299,490.00. And I believe that was our only respondent for RFQ 563, GFT signage. Up next for the Bureau of Procurement, RFQ 555. This is for polyvinyl chloride, PVC pipes and fittings.
We have one bidder, and that is Ferguson Waterworks. That total is 2,040,981.30.
Okay, that number was 2,040,981.30.
That is correct.
And that was our only bidder for RFQ 555. Ferguson Waterworks bid amount is $2,040,000. Sorry, let me start again. $2,040,981.30. And that was for RFQ 555, polyvinyl chloride pipes and fittings. Up next, for the Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 561, supply and delivery of guardrails and traffic barriers.
We have no bids submitted.
And we have no bids submitted for RFQ 561, supply and delivery of guardrails and traffic barriers. Up next, for the Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 526, utility services for the Baltimore Convention Center. This is a Part B opening, which means that we are sharing prices for previously received bids.
All right.
Correct?
Yes, that
What
is
I just said
correct.
correct? Thank you. Just making sure. Just making sure we're aligned. Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, Abby.
Up first, we have Smart City Networks. Is this all? Okay. Yeah, I don't see a total here. We also.
Does the copy look the same? Oh, there's only an
Yeah, this-
original?
yeah.
May I? This is it?
Yeah.
It's not a lot of paper for utilities. Okay. I don't see a total that we can share. So this bid is going to be referred to the agency for further evaluation. So that was Smart City Networks. We do not have a total to share. And we, the forms that we share today, the results from the opening will show that we're referring this to the agency for review. And I believe we have one other.
Yep.
Okay.
Our second and final bidder is Edlin Electrical Exhibition Services of Maryland, LLC. I also do not see a total.
Okay. We will do the same, just to be safe, let the agency review this. So both bidders, Smart City Works and Edlin Electrical Exhibition Services of Maryland LLC, will be referred to the agency for review. Pardon me. And this was for RFQ 526, utility services for Baltimore Convention Center. Up next, for the Bureau of Procurement, we have RFQ 570, retro commissioning study for a large building.
And we have no bids submitted.
And there have been no bids submitted for RFQ 570, retro commissioning study for a large building. And I believe that was our final opening for today. So our next bid opening is on June 5, 2024 at 12 noon as usual. Thanks everyone for tuning in. The results from today's opening will be posted on the Baltimore City Comptroller's website by close of business, if not sooner. Thanks everyone. Thanks team.